So let's do Bastille Day, which is from director James Watkins, who did Eden Lake, which was grueling, and The Woman in Black, which we talked about earlier on previously on this programme, saying that it was the film which was probably too scary to be 12 certificate. This is a thriller set in Paris. Idris Elba is a CIA agent. At the beginning of it, we have Richard Madden, who is a light-fingered pickpocket who manages to steal a bag which has in it a terrorist device. He thereby causes an explosion unwittingly. The next thing, the CIA, including Idris Elba, are after him. Here's a clip.
The image has been matched with one Michael. Outstanding warrants in 4 states for short con fraud. Skipped bail, fled the country, entered France on a tourist visa. We contacted his mother, only heard from her son twice in the last 18 months. Both times collect call from a payphone in Paris. She had no idea where he is or what he's doing. Quote, just like his dad, he's always running away from something, mostly himself.
So what are we doing?
We're looking for a data trail. Stolen credit cards, bank accounts.
Same payphone?
Yeah?
So what are we waiting for? Let's go get him. Same payphone in 18 months. He lives on that street.
A direct action could compromise connections to a wider terrorist
You're a
network.
citizen, kills 4 people in Paris. We missed it on your watch. We sit on our asses while he strikes again.
Briar, this isn't Baghdad, it's Paris. Red wine, the Louvre, Louis Vuitton. You can't just run and start firing.
I love that line. It's Paris, red wine, the Louvre, Louis Vuitton. So, what?
The Pont Neuf.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which, as we all know, means
the new bridge.
The new bridge, not the ninth bridge. So I went into Bastille Day sort of, expecting to be underwhelmed and came out rather pleasantly surprised. It is, I mean, I have to say, ridiculous in terms of its plotting, but as opposed to something like London is Falling, it doesn't have any of that sort of nasty xenophobia. It doesn't leave that unpleasant. It doesn't have that nastiness to it. In fact, what it is more interested in is picking apart prejudice as part of its unravelling plot rather than just celebrating it. And it is very interesting. You put this next to London Has Fallen. This is the much more likeable film in every respect for a number of reasons. One of them is that it's quite well helmed by James Watkins. There are some crunchy fight sequences. There's a terrific rooftop chase sequence. It's a film in which it's nuts and bolts thrills, but they're done in an efficient way that makes the film move at a good cracking pace. The second thing is that Idris Elba, who is currently sort of one of the people who is, as far as the bookies are concerned, one of the front runners to take over James Bond. I think it's Tom Hardy and Tom Hiddleston and him are the sort of the top 3. And when you watch Bastille Day, you can kind of go, okay, fine, I can completely imagine that working, because despite the fact that his American accent is, occasionally a little wobbly, what he does do is bring a gravitas to that central role that you end up investing in the character. I mean, essentially what happens is, firstly, he's tracking the guy who is the pickpocket, and then inevitably, because it's a generic convention, the two of them end up having to work together in pursuit of unraveling actually what's going on with all this sort of everything. The whole plot is to do with unrest being sparked by internet hashtags, and nothing is what it seems and nobody is who they appear to be. And so you get at the centre of it this kind of chalk and cheese pairing, and it actually works quite well. The main thing with those movies, with those sort of movies which end up being odd couple movies, is, do you actually want to spend any time in the company of these people? And in the case of this, you do. So, I mean, it is quite ridiculous in terms of its plotting, but it's not like Criminal, which is just stupid. And one of those things. I mean, I know somebody wrote an email saying that they quite like Criminal, but they then basically qualified that by saying it was rubbish, and Gary Oldman was rubbish, and it was rubbish, but I kind of enjoyed it. In the case of this isn't. It's actually sort of perfectly efficiently put together, and Elba, I think, is pretty terrific in the central role. And there are one or two sort of chase sequences, as I said, that main chase which happens, which is really sort of well executed. In fact, it was the second really good rooftop chase I've seen this week, in the last couple of weeks, because we were talking about Fan earlier on with Shah Rukh Khan, and that has a really terrific sort of rooftop chase sequence as well. So it's nothing that you haven't seen before, but it's done slickly and with just enough of subverting the generic conventions to make it not exactly what you'd expect it to be. And I watched it and it passed the time perfectly happily, and I thought Idris Elba handled it very, very well.